I guess one of the biggest takeaways and a good place to start is that you really can't underestimate the importance of talking to potential users, especially when you're pre product. Before we had launched the open source feature store, I would talk to as many folks as I possibly could in data science and machine learning to get a better understanding of how they work, why they do the things they do, why they choose certain tools, what keeps them up at night. And I feel like this gave us a couple benefits. First, it was a great way to build my network. And yeah, you're not going to meet every person that would give you a GitHub star. That obviously doesn't scale, but it's a great way to build relationships and make friends in the community. And maybe one day they'll mention you to a colleague or share a LinkedIn post. Maybe they'll be in the market for your product one day and they'll remember you. The second benefit that I can summarize is like in these meetings, the feedback that would give me a lot of insight into what our target audience finds interesting and what problems they're facing. And that really helped us drive one of our biggest levers in marketing and just building open source community, and that would be content. Because it gave me a good baseline of, like, what people's expectations are and what they're looking for, and that being said, we chose to focus on long form content that was really high quality. We tried working with content marketers, and I think for our stage, it's really important that the content you write come from a place of, not to sound cheesy, but real passion, I guess. And that's something that's really hard to outsource because no one's going to care about the problems that your potential customers or end users are going to face more than you. And it's also a really good way to build trust through the content that you create. For us, a lot of folks ended up using our content as a reference, and that actually made them, I think, more likely to visit the repo or also maybe use the product. The other area that I think was really helpful for us was instead of starting and trying to build a community like a Slack community right off the bat ourselves, we took advantage of existing communities. And that could be on Slack, it could be on Discord. Reddit is really great for this. And we use those spaces to share updates, get feedback, find relevant meetups, find conferences. And this was really helpful for us because, A, when you're pre product, what are you going to put in your community? There are already a lot of great communities for folks in data science and ML. And it's something that you can't hack. You can't force people to come to a community and be engaged. So I think it was a really good use of our time to focus on external communities and instead of trying to build something internally. It's kind of like a if you build it, they will come. And by it, I mean the product. So once we did release the product, we started to get folks joining our community, asking questions, filing bug reports, looking for tutorials. And I think that was really, really helpful in building open source traction. The other thing that I think that was really helpful for us was focusing on experimentation. So that could be with the type of content that you put out. Like we launched a podcast. We figured that's another good way of kind of building some brand awareness, getting folks to warm up to feature form without feeling like they're being sold to. And it gave them an opportunity to get to know us, to get to know Simba. But when you're going into experimentation, I think you need to do that within reason. Building trust is a really important part of building an open source community. So, going too crazy with ads or spamming people, those can be mistakes that turn people off. So, yeah, I think making sure that you're iterating, you're trying new things is really, really important in kind of figuring out what works for you. I think also when you're early stage, folks don't really want to build out maybe like a full analytics dashboard or anything like that, but it is important to measure what you're doing. And that could be with UTM campaigns. It could be like Google Analytics. Something that was really, really helpful for us was I set up an integration between Slack and GitHub with Zapier. So pretty much every time someone would star us, I would get a ping in a channel. And it was a really great way of, like, getting feedback in real time because I could see we did launch this blog post or we launched on Hacker News. We got a bunch of stars. It's not as easy to measure in the sense of it won't be present in a dashboard or something like that, but it will give you a feeling early on when I think it's hard to fully measure things off of like what works well and what doesn't. And you can see what's working well in real time.